determined we would.
But you sat across the table from people who felt in the 1980s still that Mandela was a terrorist, that he was a communist, that there should be no deal made with him. And some of these people were not only friends of yours, but people in many ways you looked up to, and obviously Margaret Thatcher being one of them. Did you really have to say at one point to her, Margaret, you're on the wrong side of history?
Absolutely. That's one of the kinder things I said. She was pretty ferocious, believe me. And I'll spare you what she said to me.
No, please, don't spare me.
But no, it was a very vigorous exchange. Like, for example, Margaret would say things like, "Well, Brian, you don't understand that Nelson Mandela is a communist." And I say, "Well, Margaret, how do you know that? He's been in jail for 27 years. Did he call you? Have you been talking to him now? Did he tell you that? Because if you're saying that simply because communist regimes around the world are helping him, financially and other ways for the ANC, they're doing that because you refuse to help. So he's looking for friends elsewhere. And if I were in jail for 27 years, I'd be grateful for that support, and you'd probably be saying of me that I'm a communist when I get out. But Margaret, I'll bet you $1 to a donut right now that when Nelson Mandela walks out of that jail, he's no more of a communist than you or me or Ronald Reagan." So I said, "I fear that you are placing your nation on the wrong side of history. And all I'm concerned about is making certain that Canada turns out to have been on the right side of history on this great moral challenge."
Did she ever change her mind in a way that she came to you and said, you know, you were right about that?
No, but in lunches and travels after, she said to me things like, "Well, you know, Brian, did you find me a little too vigorous on the issue?" And I said, "I didn't find you vigorous. I simply found you wrong."